parts of what William Shakespeare proudly called this royal throne of kings and sceptred isle.
This happy breed of men, this little world, a precious stone on the silver sea. And from this precious stone, I picked Cambridge, Suffolk, and the northeast of England. Ooh, it's cold up here.
My north of England journey starts in the more central counties of Suffolk and Cambridgeshire. From Lavenham in Suffolk, I travel westwards to Cambridge and drive north through Lincolnshire to Yorkshire, first to Sheffield, then to Bradford, ending up in York. In Tyne and Weir, Northumberland, I experience Newcastle upon Tyne. I explore the castles of Chillingham, Bamborough and Holy Island, and I end my journey on the Farne Islands.
Lavenham, and I thought I'd get a bit of fresh air before heading up to the industrial north.
Lavenham is a picture postcard town that was raised on a prosperous wool trade back in the Middle Ages. The local wool merchants were a religious lot, and their prodigious wealth funded a lavish church to accompany their pretty wattle and daub houses. Many of these pretty houses have survived the passages of time, and most of them overhang with upper floor extensions called jetties.
Got taxed by the amount of ground space they took up, so it made sense to make their living quarters a lot bigger upstairs. It was also very handy when they wanted to check out their toilet and not hit their lovely leaded windows below. This is a crooked house.
The houses are crooked because they have no foundations, like this quaint tea house. Now that's a marvelous idea. I'm having a traditional cream tea here at Munnings Tea Room. Look at this lovely large pot. Gorgeous. Oh,
And cream tea.
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And served with a delightful large scone right there with clotted cream, butter, and strawberry jam. Right, let's get stuck in. I'm putting on the pounds here. Pile on that jam. Have a little extra clotted cream. Ooh, that's good. And there you have it, the lovely cream tea. This particular house inspired a very, very famous Victorian nursery rhyme. It goes a little something like this. There was a crooked man who walked a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence against a crooked stile. He bought a crooked cat who caught a crooked mouse. And they all lived together in a little crooked house.
I'm taking the B20 bus to Cambridge via Sudbury. It comes every hour, so it should be here any minute now.
The journey from Lavenham to Cambridge, including a stopover in Sudbury, takes about, an hour and a half? Cambridge is a medieval city settled on marshy fenland on the eastern border of England. The city has august buildings and glorious chapels, most of which belong to one of the oldest universities in the world. Cambridge University also has some of the greatest colleges in the world, 31 in all, and some pretty savvy students too.
I'm an MML student, a modern medieval languages student, and I study French and Italian literature.
I have just finished up my year. I'm mostly doing politics, and at the end of it all, I hope to maybe be a journalist.
I'm hoping to go on to do political research and then maybe spend some time next year travelling.
Cambridge students enjoy quirky rituals, especially at the end of term, and they can often be seen tearing around the streets on bicycle, which is the best way to travel, as the city, being marshy, is really rather flat. A good place to start your tour is in one of the traditional colleges, like King's. I meet Cambridge fellow Dr. John Barber.
King's College was the first royal college in Cambridge. It was founded in 1441 by King Henry VI. Henry, whose statue stands in the middle of our lawn as our founder, was all of 19 years when he conceived the idea of building a great college in Cambridge. And his agents came down to Cambridge, bought up all the territory to build the wonderful buildings that now stand on this site.
And who are some of the most famous students that came to this college?
Well, in the 20th century, probably the best known is John Maynard Keynes, the great economist. And he later became a fellow and was indeed bursar of the college, responsible for managing the finances of the college, as well as telling the world how it should get out of the Depression and creating theories that are still very relevant today.
King's College leans onto the backs, great lawns that carpet the university's prestigious colleges. Right up to the 17th century, the backs could only be crossed on flat-bottomed boats called punts. Today, punts are the city's must-do tourist activity, so that means I have to give it a go.
I'm doing what most students do come the end of the term, washing the year's hard work down with a little bit of champers. Oh, and say hello to my dashing chauffeur, Dan. How's it going, Dan?
Not bad.
My back's punt takes me along the River Cam, under Silver Street Bridge, then through the Mathematical Bridge to Queen's College. I float by King's College, drift under Clare and Trinity Bridge, and waft past St. John's College and its Bridge of Sighs.
So ahead is the Mathematical Bridge. I heard it was built by Sir Isaac Newton.
So have a lot of people. That's one of the urban legends, I think, of Cambridge. Newton actually died about 22 years before the bridge was constructed. There's a local carpenter called William Etheridge, who's slightly less well known, so I assume Isaac Newton was put in his place to sound slightly more interesting.
Right, I can understand that.
So the building on the right here, this is the President's Lodge of Queen's College. It's actually the oldest surviving building to be built out into the river itself.
We punt by the student dormitories of King's College. And here's a different view of King's to savour. Punts were originally used for the purpose of ferrying goods across the shallow waters of the Cambridgeshire Fens. This medieval conveyance made its way to the River Cam. It became something of a pleasure ride when the river traffic died down at the start of the 20th century.
Okay, so coming up on the right-hand side, just here, is Trinity College. This is one of the largest colleges in Cambridge, and it is by far the wealthiest as well. They're estimated to be worth just over £2 billion in total.
$2 billion.
They've got some of the most notable alumni as well, in my opinion. You've had Ernest Rutherford, Sir Isaac Newton, A.A. Milne, who wrote Winnie the Pooh. Probably my personal favourite being Lord Byron. So Lord Byron came here in the early 1800s, and he came as a nobleman, so he was afforded a few more luxuries. He could get away with a little bit more than your average student. He was told, for example, that he wasn't allowed a pet dog, so he kept a small trained black bear chained up near his room.
Why would he have a bear?
Just to annoy the college. He was like that.
What a troublemaker. Little rebel Byron, eh?
He was, yes.
That romantic poet leads us appropriately to our final bridge, the Lovers' Bridge of Sighs, named after the famous 17th century bridge in Venice of the same name.
The original in Venice was named as it connected the courtrooms, the Doge's Palace to the prisons and the execution rooms. The number of people who propose underneath this bridge, thinking that people sigh as they go over it wistfully.
Instead, let's propose a toast. Here you go.
Why not?
Cheers to
Cheers.
Cambridge.
Rather nice.
Come in the summer and you might just catch a recital by the choir scholars of King's College.
Married to a mermaid at the bottom of the deep blue sea. Singing Italia, Italia.
The King's Choir is famous the world over for their carol service, broadcast by the BBC every Christmas Eve. I leave Cambridge and drive to the north. My destination is Sheffield in South Yorkshire. It's a trip that takes a good 2.5 hours and some 130 odd miles by car. Welcome to the grim industrial north. Well, we'll see about that. Sheffield lies in the valley of the River Don. It's a typical northern industrial town, although its economy today relies on its 24,000-strong student population. The locals speak with a Yorkshire twang and are mighty proud of their city.
Oh, anyone coming to Sheffield, there's plenty to do. It's got a good shopping mall. Also, we do the Crucible, which is famous for the snooker every year.
During the Industrial Revolution, Sheffield was the nation's supplier of stainless steel, as it was conveniently situated at a confluence of coal, water and iron ore deposits. In its heyday, 3,000 degrees Celsius arc furnaces produced over 1.8 million tons of metal a year. Steel production ceased in the 1980s when Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher closed down the coal industry. But some steelworks, like this Forgemasters, have found a new lease of life by making castings and forgings for oil rigs and nuclear reactors around the world.
These lovely men right here are the foundry men here at the Forgemasters in Sheffield. You all look good and strong. Now, good, strong men. Now, I've been in there. It's very hot. It's very sweaty. It's very dusty. How do you guys cope?
Just get on with it. Get on with it.
Get on with it.
Get on with it.
You're hot.
But do you enjoy the work?
Yeah,
do you like it?
we love it.
So what's your favourite part of working here at the Forgemasters?
Getting paid on a Friday.
Is it hard? Is it a long day for you, or is it pretty...
It can be long. We once did a 32-hour shift to make sure we got a clean job.
Many women work here?
Yes, plenty. They're coming through now, there's one here.
Sheffield water is also cherished in beer, and the most famous ones are brewed on the former steelworks of Kelham Island.
Sheffield is the beer capital of Great Britain, so I have to go try some ales. So Duncan here, the landlord of the Fat Cat, has very kindly poured me Kelham Best. That's what we're starting with. I'm going to have a little try.
That's just a nice golden session beer. It's just something that's not too strong in alcohol content, so you can have a good drinking session.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. So on that note, what is our next beer?
I would go for Pale Rider, the champion.
Now, I've heard about this. It's the champion beer of Britain.
It is, yes.
Why is it the champion?
This is more of a premium pale ale. It's 5.2. It's made with American hops. It's a nice citrusy flavour as well. And it's absolutely delicious.
Great. Pour me a little of that. I'm not a beer drinker, but I'm fast becoming one. Very nice. Yeah, I like this better.
It is stronger, though, so you do have to go a bit steadier with that one.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm a bit of a lightweight. Good. All right, what's the next one, then?
I quite like this one at the moment. This is Holden's. They're doing a series of beers called World Leaders. I think the last one's Margaret Thatcher. It's called Maggie's Moonshine.
Oh, really? That's probably going to be a popular one.
I would imagine so, yes. A lot of people will be laughing about that one.
All right, let's try a little bit of Bush.
This beer should have a little bit of a fruity taste to it as well.
And to the taste of the beer, I mean, how do the beers... oh, my God, I can't speak.
You've only had 2 sips of beer.
I know.
There you go.
That's good. I have to admit, I like Bush beer.
I'd stick with the session beers if I were you.
Really? I'm off now, and I think I'm running late.
I leave Sheffield and hop on a train to Bradford. It's a fairly short 32-mile journey and costs around £11. Bradford comes from the Anglo-Saxon name for broad ford. In the 19th century, Bradford took over from East Anglia as a wool textile centre, remaining so until the middle of the 20th century. And then there was a great wave of Asian immigration as India and Pakistan broke free of British rule. Many Asians came to the north of England in search of jobs, and many turned to their culinary heritage to procure employment. It's obviously worked, as the city's been voted the curry capital of Britain.
Oh yeah, it's got really good curry.
It's like #1 in Britain or something.
And with that in mind,
I've arrived at the World Curry Festival and I'm very excited. The whole square seems to have transformed into this Arab souk, so I'm going to get a guide and see what's going on. I like your t-shirt. Keep calm and curry on.
I wonder what everyone's having.
What are you cooking here today?
I'm cooking the hottest chicken and aubergine curry.
Wow, what makes it so hot?
It's little devil here. This is called Naga chili.
Wow. Can I get some butter chicken?
Yeah, of course you can.
And what is this aloo tiki?
This is aloo tiki, so it's a little cake made from potatoes and lentils. Shall I do you one?
Yes, please. That sounds great.
I'll show you how we garnish this. So we've got some yogurt here. Then we've got some coriander chutney.
Yeah.
Homemade, of course.
Nice.
And then we've got some tamarind.
Oh, lovely.
And tamarind, it's from the same plant as Worcester sauce.
I do like tamarind. These look interesting. What are these?
Well, these are strawberry samosas.
Strawberry?
Yeah, slightly different.
Nice.
We like to be different. There we go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Enjoy.
There we go. Let's have a little something sweet before the curry, shall we? Good. Strawberries inside a samosa. Genius.
If you're in the industrial north, then you have to try out an industrial mode of transport, the horse-drawn boat.
So this is Pete, our tillerman, and over there is Sue and our lovely horse, Bilbo Baggins. Hi, Sue.
Hello. Hi.
I think we're ready.
I'm taking the Leeds to Liverpool Canal to Bingley. It was built in 1765 for the purpose of carrying woolen goods, stone and coal across the Pennines. However, prospective backers insisted that Liverpool had to be a port of call, so the route was extended. The project took 46 years to complete. The canals were indeed the motorways of the 18th century. As roads were unsurfaced and unreliable, water was the best recourse. Horse-drawn boats were also highly efficient, especially if you take into account that a horse can pull 50 times as much weight on water as it can by pulling a trundling cart. We arrive at the Bingley 5-rise staircase, 5 locks stacked on top of each other, rising up some 60 feet in the air. It's a remarkable feat of Georgian engineering and Yorkshire hard graft.
So what's going to happen here?
We have to get this boat into the lock. It's a bit longer than the lock itself, so you have to shuffle the boat around the gate. So we're going to get the boat into the lock, close the gate, put the boat behind the gate, and then get the other boat in, and then shut that gate.
Seems quite complicated.
It certainly is.
A lot of hard work.
There's a technique.
There is. I'll learn it.
The majority of canal locks are operated by hand, but something this complex requires the assistance of a lockkeeper.
That's the lockkeeper right there, and he's going to help take the boat into the next lock.
It takes a good 2 hours to make our way up the 5 locks.
This is the 5th and final lock now, and we're just waiting for the water to level up on either side of the gate. I hope my bag's still on board. It's been quite a journey.
It certainly has.
A long journey up there, but I think I'm going to continue my journey on up north in a car.
I don't blame you.
Yes.
I have a car as well.
Yeah. All right, see you soon.
Lovely to be with you. Cheers. Take care.
The White Rose calls me to my next destination, York. The journey takes about an hour, over a distance of some 30 miles along fast roads. York was a Roman fortification town, which was properly settled in the 9th century by the sea-raiding Vikings. They called it Jorvik. A history of invasion inspired the construction of fortified walls, and they still encircle the city. And they really do make for a pleasant walk, with great views of York's gleaming jewel, the Norman Minster. Who can resist it? Not I. York Minster is the largest medieval cathedral in Northern Europe, and it's a wonder of 12th century Christian civil engineering. as well as 14th to 15th century medieval craftsmanship. It has a choir screen effected in the decorated style, which carries statues of 15 English kings, starting with William I and ending with Henry VI, he of King's College fame. Not to mention the fantastic stained glass windows, deemed by many to be the finest collection of intact medieval stained glass found anywhere in the world. In the Middle Ages, York, like Lavenham, like Bradford, boomed with the wool trade, and the city's merchants thrived in overcrowded streets like these.
Look, Yorkshire pudding in York. I'm in the Shambles, which is based on the Anglo-Saxon word shamble, which means slaughterhouse. There must have been a lot of butchers round here.
Cathedrals aside, York is also famous for chocolates. Brought over by the Quakers, produced by the Rowntree's Company, and made world famous by Nestle.
This is the biggest Kit Kat in the world, made by Rowntree's here in York. I'm going to try and take it home with me, put it in my back pocket, but I'm not sure it's going to fit.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. How much does it weigh, Becky?
It weighs 60 pounds and it is real biscuit and real wafer in there. It's not fake.
Actually, the real thing in there.
Indeed.
So, Becky, what's the connection between chocolate and York?
We make in York over 1 billion Kit Kats every single year in the Nestle factory.
Really? I had no idea. Do you eat chocolate every day?
Yes.
What's your favourite?
Oh, my favourite chocolate. I love some of the ones that Alan makes. I really like a blueberry chocolate.
Oh, Alan, can we have a little taste of your chocolate? Can I dip my finger in? Is that allowed? Or is that really unhygienic?
I can give you a little spoon.
Oh, ooh, I like my little spoon. All right. Let me have a little try. Look at this. This is heaven. Thanks, Alan.
You're very welcome, Judy.
You made my day.
Oh, stop.
I'm going to enjoy some of Alan's chocolates now. So here we have a chocolate filled with marshmallow. Yummy. The after effect is good. And here we have chocolate filled with white chocolate and lime. Delicious. Mmm. York is fast becoming one of my favorite cities.
I leave York and drive up to the North Pennines, to my overnight stay near Massam. On my way, I stop over in the village of Keld, in Yorkshire's National Park. Yorkshire is affectionately known as God's own country, and that must partly be due to its gorgeous dales.
Dale comes from the Norse name Dalar, which means valley, and there are plenty of valleys of remarkable natural beauty to behold here.
Before the end of the 16th century, there was only one church in Swaledale, and that was St. Andrew's, a little Norman outpost in the little town of Grinton.
And if you lived here in little humble old Keld, then it would be a mighty traipse across the moorland and swires to take your departed loved one for a Christian burial. Why not take the road, you may ask? Well, with the plague hanging about, you wouldn't want to be pulling a dead body through a village, would you?
So a corpse trail was marked out, and it makes for a pleasant 11-mile trek across the Yorkshire Dales, from Keld to Grinton. The trail will take you up Kidson Hill and down to Ivelet Bridge. You pass the lead mines of Gunnerside, then head down to Kearton, before ending your journey in Grinton itself.
Well, I'm staying at a place called Bivouac tonight. It's a rustic retreat set in the middle of a Ramblers trail called Ripon Rowell. And it costs only £95 a night. Oh, wow. Look at this. Beautiful. Very rustic. And look, we've got a wood fire burning oven there. Nice little kitchen there. It sleeps probably about, what, 6 or 7 people. Great for the price. Let's have a look at the bathroom. Nice shower, running water. Perfect. This is just what I need. And look at the views. Breathtaking. Perfection.
leg leg of my journey takes me across the River Tees into Tyne and Wear. My destination is Newcastle upon Tyne, commonly known as the Toon. The transporter bridge is the ideal way to hoik oneself over to Northumberland. It's the only working bridge of its kind in England, and it runs on a wheel and rail pulley system, which attaches a ferry platform to steel cables, 160 metres above the River Tees. It was built by the Cleveland Bridge and Engineering Company in 1911 to convey workers to their iron foundries and salt works.
This great sculpture is the Angel of the North, and it's created by Sir Anthony Gormley. It looks over Gateshead over there, and Newcastle just visible over the River Tyne there. And I'm very excited because that is the next place in my destination, Newcastle, the city where I grew up.
Like a lot of northern cities, Newcastle's economy was built in the industrial age, both in the coal pit and also in the shipyards of the River Tyne, until the familiar tale of industrial recession, which drove the city into steady decline. Today, Newcastle is the model of regeneration, especially in the realm of music, art and architecture. A dynamic city for the 21st century. The locals are called Geordies and are fanatical about their Newcastle. And they are even more fanatical about their football team.
If you're a traveller coming to the city, I think you've got to see a Newcastle United match.
Well, we're the Toon Army, Newcastle United. The reason we're called the Toon Army is because this is the Toon. It actually originates from the Saxon word for town. It means everything to us. I've even got it tattooed on my hand. NUFC, that's Newcastle United Football Club.
I'm making my way to Grey Street, which is signposted by a monument to the 19th century Northumberland-born British Prime Minister Charles Grey.
That's enough.
There's a lot of unusual words in the Toon, and ever curious, I pop into the Northumbrian Language Society.
Plain. Northumbria's language is a grand creation. It's warm, alive, and full of animation.
Can't understand a word they're saying.
Hello, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Right, well, we're going to start with the first of these words, and it's Peric.
We are playing Wheeze, Talon, Hofies. I'm saying that right?
Yes.
Another version of Call My Bluff.
Raymond, what's Peric mean?
Well, this is a pitmatic word, actually, and I'm very familiar with it because I used to walk down the pit. It's two upright props with a crosspiece.
Okay.
It's not what he said. Peric was used during the pit when they had canaries to check if there was any gas down there. A peric is a porch where the board used to be inside the cage.
Right, well, James, do you agree?
No, I don't. And personally, I think I'm better qualified than either of these two to know the right answer. Because being from a farming background, I can tell you that a peric is a place of like the fields around the farmhouse you can put the sheep in when it gets our card.
I didn't catch any of the last part of that. It's a fields that are enclosed.
That's right. So when it gets a little bit rainy or windy or too cold, you can put the sheep in there to keep them warm.
Right then, Judith, so Peric, who do you think was telling the truth, or who's telling Hofies?
I'm going to go with James.
You
Suddenly!
Well done.
Woohoo!
So he wasn't telling a Hofie.
You weren't telling a Hoofy.
No, not this time.
There you go. I got that one right.
Armed with my expanded Northumbrian vocabulary and clearly on a winning streak, my next stop is obvious, really.
Newcastle's equivalent to Ascot, the Pitman's Derby, also known as Play Day. And I'm at my heels today, and I'm going to be prancing around with my fellow Geordies. Let's go and have some fun.
is a race that goes back to about 1860, and days have passed when the Northeast, which was famous for its coal mining industry, the coal miners used to get a day off. It was the pitmen's day off for this race. I doubt if there's very many pitmen here. However, it's nice to see that the history and the spectacle and a little bit of magic is still being remembered by certain people.
First things first, let's place a bet.
Excuse me, could you help me? I need some help on who to bet for next. What do you think?
I've sort of summed it up into two of them, but I like this Fast Shot and Gramercy. Gramercy's the one I bet on.
Fast Shot or Gramercy? Well, I used to live in Gramercy Park, so I think I'm going to go for that one.
So that's the one.
I like it. All right.
Sounds good.
Can I put £2 on Gramercy? Thank you. The winning ticket. Come on, Gramercy. We can do it.
First lap, and we're in the hunt.
I don't know who won. Who won? Who won? Did we win?
No, the great one won it. No, I didn't even do it. I think we come. There he is there. What's he doing there? God's sake.
Yes.
And walked over. No, me.
He's just crawling over the finish line.
He walks over.
Oh, well, so much for the tip.
Well, I'm a bit disappointed because I didn't win anything in the races this year, but my mum comes to the races every year with her friends, so I'm going to commiserate with them. Did you win anything?
Of course, we won. £100.
Of course.
So we're celebrating.
You see, my mum wins, but I win nothing. Bad luck when I come to Newcastle. Oh, well, let's celebrate. Cheers.
And so to the final leg of my journey. I first visit Chillingham Castle. I then explore the Northumberland coast to Bamborough Castle. From Bamborough, I make my way to Holy Island before continuing to the fishing town of Sea Houses, where I take a boat to the Farne Islands in search of the puffin. Chillingham is a sward, an expanse of grass, historically belonging to the Grey and Tankerville families, who for centuries were the Earls and Lords of Chillingham. The estate is also home to 130 wild cattle, the endangered white beasts who were sacrificed to the gods by the Roman conquerors. Today, they are protected to prevent their certain extinction. Extinction can't yet be said about the landed aristocracy, which is still holed up in Chillingham's castle, and his name is Sir Humphrey Wakefield.
Sir Humphrey Wakefield, 2nd Baronet of Kendal, acquired this castle from the ancient seat of the Greys. The Greys being a most noble family, having sired a Prime Minister, having passed the Reform Act in 1832, which gave us the right to vote, and of course, for giving us Earl Grey tea. And by the way, you don't put milk in Earl Grey tea.
The castle was erected by the Norman conquerors in the 11th century to fend off the raiding Scots crossing the border. The most fearsome being the rebel landowner William Wallace, Braveheart, which sent King Edward I in hot pursuit. Longshanks, as he was affectionately known, stayed in Chillingham Castle during his quest.
So, this is the Edward I room.
Right.
Because Edward I, he came to stay here, and he was in a great state of anger, because William Wallace, Braveheart, had been here the year before, in 1297, and he'd put all the females and the children into the local church and not given them sweets, but burnt them to death. He'd then taken the English general and skinned him and made his skin into a sword belt and a horse girth.
Oh.
So Longshanks, who is called Pride Edward, also Hammer of the Scots, was in a fury, came up here and stayed here. Judith, I very much want to show you this.
What is it?
This is our prize. This is our license to crenellate.
What is that?
A license to crenellate is a special license from the king to make a powerful fortress into a proper castle. And that license is the only license to crenellate in Castle of Origin in the country. So that's very grand. And it's dated 1344. and it's given by King Edward III. It's all in Latin. And he said, beloved cousin Grey, you can put battlements on your castle to make it into a fortalice. So it's our special thing, and we're very pleased with it.
The castle was dilapidated when Sir Humphrey acquired it, but he has lovingly restored it. Its grounds, the gallery and staterooms, which shimmer with Wakefield heritage.
And up there, you see,
yes,
is my family crest, which is a bat.
Yes.
And we're very proud of that. It's a bat because Wakefield City has a fleur-de-lis, and we call a fleur-de-lis not flower of the lily, but a flower of the bat, because Norman French for bat is lys.
Oh, right.
So you will see on lots of the porcelain, the tapestries, we've got bats.
And so tell me about the Wakefield family.
Wakefield family comes from Wakefield, and then we got lucky and we became royal servants, really, like that licensed candidate next door.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did great things, like founding-wise, we did great things like we decided Australia shouldn't be a criminal country, and so we founded Adelaide. And in New Zealand, we founded Wellington, New Plymouth, Otago, and Christchurch.
So a family of underachievers, then?
I am, they aren't. Yes, that's right. And by God's chance, I was married to the blood royal.
Oh.
Because the Grey family, who'd had this since the 1200s, they'd moved next door. I married one of that lot, and so she came back here bringing the blood royal.
I leave Sir Humphrey and bear east to the coast. I've hired a bike as it's the best way to see these parts. It costs around £12 a day, and boy, the exercise keeps you warm, as the coast is really cold.
It's bloody freezing up north.
Bamborough Castle was the ancient seat of the kings of Northumbria, and Northumbria's most brilliant sovereign was King Oswald, who converted to Christianity in the 7th century. He sent for the monk Aidan to go to Holy Island. To get to Holy Island, you cross a causeway, but mind the tides.
Christianity in England first arrived over there on the island of Lindisfarne, when an Irish monk Aidan set up a priory.
After Aidan had established his priory, King Oswald then turned to Cuthbert, the most gentle and persuasive of monks, to convert the Saxons of Northumbria to the Roman rites of Catholicism. Cuthbert's efforts were so successful that Christianity thus became the nation's great religion. I can't leave without a peep at Lindisfarne Castle. But I can't hang around. It's freezing. I forgot about the tides!
I made it!
Sea houses. A traditional English fishing village with its handsome fishermen. It's also a haven for old-age pensioners who love to have chips with their fish, and a magnet for tourists who want to take a trip out to the Farne Islands to see the bird life. And that's where I'm going. Islands are found 3 miles off the Northumberland coast, and it takes less than an hour to reach them. Farne Island boasts the most famous seabird sanctuary in the British Isles, a seasonal residence to cormorants and razorbills, kittiwakes, shags, guillemots, herons and shards.
I came to the Farne Islands a number of years ago with my parents. I remember my dad getting dive bombed by the terns and his head bleeding. It was something that stuck with me, and I wanted to come back and see it.
So these are all the cliff nesting birds, Judith. You can see there's a mass of seabirds here which are nesting on the cliffs. So these ones in big numbers are guillemots, these penguin-like birds. That's the equivalent to a penguin of the northern hemisphere. The penguins in the southern hemisphere, and this is the northern penguin. Chocolate brown head and back and a white front, the guillemot. Here they're making lots of noise.
Yeah, it's very noisy here.
It is, all the birds tightly packed together on the cliffs. There's lots of youngsters hashing out now, and you can hear them making the whistling, the chirping noise. Those are the young birds.
We make our way to Inafan in pursuit of the puffin. I meet Will, one of the rangers entrusted with monitoring the bird life on the island. He's held the post for some 3 years, living the life of a hermit, like old St. Cuthbert, who also lived here for 3 years in the 7th century.
Welcome to the Farne Islands.
Thank you. This is beautiful.
Yeah, it is, yeah. You've got a bit of a treat in store, I think, today. But first things first, I think you might be needing this.
This? Why am I going to put that on?
Some of our residents, the Arctic terns, get a little bit peckish to protect their chicks and eggs that they've got on the island.
All
so
right, then,
you might need that just to give you a bit of protection.
Yeah.
I'll let the birds do the talking
I mean,
anyway.
they look harmless to me, but you say so.
They are harmless. They are harmless. It only feels like a little scratch.
Okay.
Nothing more. Here comes one just to say hello.
They really
They
come at
do.
you, don't they?
It's like the rustle of a machine gun almost. It's very intimidating.
Scary, really.
Indeed.
So, Will, what do you do on the island here?
We do a lot of conservation on the island, so whether that be counting and monitoring our seabirds to see how successful our colony is, changing the habitat and managing it to make sure it's ideal for their breeding, and of course the puffin census and stuff, which we're currently doing now.
Puffin censusing involves, well, counting puffins. They descend on the island to lay their eggs every July. They nest underground in the soft soil, and to avoid detection by swooping gulls, they will hide their eggs at night.
Okay, so we're now on our puffin colony, and these are all puffin burrows that you can see all around you. We're going to basically stick our arm down a burrow. We're going to find one of a few things. We're either going to get an adult, perhaps give us a little nibble and tell us it's there. We're going to find an egg, or we're going to find a chick. Hopefully we won't find nothing. I'll quickly just check this one, show you how, and then we'll get you involved if that's all right.
Let's have a go.
Let's have a little feel. See what's down there. It's a bit of a sort of contortionist activity. This. I think I can feel something. It's not a bird. This is a hatched eggshell. So this is just the film from inside of the egg.
Yeah.
And you can see it's nice and soft. So this is basically proof that puffins would be using this burrow and breeding in it. One other thing you might find down there, it's not just a singular burrow. They actually have 2 chambers. One chamber is the lovely chamber where a lovely little fluffy chick's nesting, but there's another chamber which is actually called a latrine, which is what basically their toilet.
So I might feel poo down there, basically.
You might feel poo down there. You might put your arm down and feel something a bit wetter than the surrounding soil.
Lovely.
And on that note,
I'm feeling the top of
You can feel the top or the sides, yeah.
Wow, it goes down really far.
Does it? How wet does it feel? Because there's mud down there, but there's probably also poo. Nothing?
Moist. No, there's nothing down this one.
Kind of moist. Just check your hand and make sure there's no lovely white presence on there, and you escape without any pooey hands. Let's have a look for some.
our quest for an unoccupied burrow continues. One without poo, I hope. Do eggs have a smell?
Does it, you think?
This looks good. It looks occupied. There's definitely tracks going in and out of it, so it's a burrow with puffins in. Let's see if we can reach them, I suppose.
Let's do it, okay.
Okay, I'll have a little feel. Oh, thank you.
Oh, there's something in there?
Yeah, I can feel its bill. Yeah, there's definitely a puffin in there. Right, let's see if we can find this adult puffin. That's just his bill on my finger. Okay. Yes, yeah. There's a bird down here, but yeah, it's testing the strength of my finger skin. That's for sure. Ooh, ow, ow, ow.
Are you in pain?
They're a small bird, but they pack a punch.
Really?
That's for sure. That's for sure. And go, guys. So this is a puffin. So just get it secured. Would you like to hold it?
I would love to.
Okay, so if you put your fingers where I am, you can see it's a bit bitey, and then if you hold its wings quite firmly, because it's a bit of a struggler.
Okay.
And in that kind of view, there you go, you've got it perfect.
Look how beautiful the puffin is.
So these birds are here for about 3 months each year. That's it. They take about 10 weeks to breed of that. And once they leave the islands, they're out into the North Sea to spend the rest of 9 months bobbing on the sea, being really hardcore little seabirds. So we're going to put this bird back in so it can happily go back to its chick. There it goes. Fantastic.
Fantastic.
No worries.
Beautiful puffins.
They are fantastic birds.
Trying to speak. England. Well, what can I say? It's as varied a country as you can get. Pleasant and green, and yet pretty grim in parts. Very well spoken, and yet sometimes totally incomprehensible. The weather can be really good, and then it can be really, really bad. But it's pretty safe to say, I think there's something here for everyone. Every creature, great and small.